Hey team, this is Casey.
And this is Shannon, and you're listening to 8 Count Breakdown.
Your home for all things college dance all in one place. We are back for an exciting interview with Taylor Vasek and Katelin Madsen. And I am so bummed, you guys. I unfortunately had to miss this interview, and I just got done listening to it. Shannon got the chance to talk to Taylor and Katelin, and it is amazing. And I feel like I really learned so much about NDA just listening to it. How did it go?
I can't wait for our listeners to hear this one. I feel like it was very informative and also just great to get to know Taylor and Katelin. They're amazing people and so fun to talk to. So everyone's going to really enjoy it. There's some tea on this episode that you'll learn. And yeah, it was just great to hear the coach's perspective. You guys got to hear the dancer's perspective last week. So it's nice to kind of learn NDA from a different perspective. And they also danced at UDA, but they also have that perspective as well on things that are the same, things that are different. So yeah, it's just an amazing episode and we're so glad we get to share it with you. And a huge thank you to Taylor and Katelin for joining us and taking time out of their very busy schedule right now. So they are just angels for allowing us to take a peek behind the curtain while they are in the middle of their busiest time of year.
Yes. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for taking that on. And now we'll pass it over to your interview with Taylor and Katelin.
Enjoy. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We're so excited to get the coach's perspective on NDA. We talked to a few dancers who have been there, but I feel like it's such a different side of things when you're a coach. Let's start maybe just at your background. So if each of you could tell us a little bit about your background and kind of what led you to the position you're in today, that would be awesome. Taylor, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. So even though half of it is involving Katelin, but it's okay.
It's okay.
So my coaching career started in Fargo, North Dakota, where I coached a middle school team for 3 years. And then I went on to coach the high school team for the same school district for 3 years as well. And then I eventually texted or messaged the UND Dance Instagram and said, "Hi, I'm moving to Grand Forks, North Dakota, and I was wondering if you're interested in an assistant coach." And then I was Katelin's assistant coach for 3 years. And then this last year, I decided to move to Minneapolis just for like a new adventure in life. And I thought maybe I was going to be done with dance. And then it was actually Katelin who sent me the posting for the premier head coach
No
position.
way.
Are you applying for this or what? And so that's kind of what led me to be where I am. So technically year 10 of coaching here, but my dance background, I danced for West Fargo High School in high school and then danced for UND for a year and then took a little break and then tore my ACL doing adult dancing at the age of 24 and decided that my dance career is done and I'm okay with that.
I have to tell you, our dance backgrounds are very, very similar.
Okay.
I also started dancing in high school and then did a couple years of college. I was a dancer on the University of Minnesota premier dance team. And
Okay.
then I did all-star dance, like adult dancing,
Yeah.
and competed at Worlds. Yeah. So like
Okay,
very
I
similar
also
paths.
competed at Worlds too. Yeah, it was
Maybe you competed against
2016.
each other. We probably did.
Yeah, it was in
We probably did.
2016. I was at Worlds for Palm with North Dakota Elite, and then the next year we were at DX in Minneapolis to get our
Yes.
bid for Worlds, and I tore my ACL the night before.
The night
Yeah.
before? Wait, was it when
The
you were
night-
practicing?
when we were practicing. And
Dang.
then I had to stand at the back of the stage at
Yep.
DX for them to save my spot for somebody else to take it over. And so that was really weird. So
Casey did that too. Casey had to
Wow.
bug in the back, yeah, in order for her
Yep.
name to be on the thing. Hers was like just in case someone got hurt and couldn't compete at Worlds, like then she could be in the dance
Okay.
because she was on the stage. But that's so
Yep.
funny. We probably saw each other not only at Worlds but also at DX because that's where we would usually get our bids too.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious. That's so funny. What a small world.
I love that. Okay, but I love your story and how everything is connected. I love that you put yourself out there by reaching out to UND's Instagram and just being like, hey, you have nothing to lose. Just are you interested in this? And that is the whole reason you have this position today is because you were connected with Katelin and Katelin was able to connect that to you. So I love the dance world and how everything's connected.
literally would not be where I am if it wasn't for Katelin, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Aw,
Okay, so
thanks.
Caitlin, now can you tell us your journey?
Yeah, so I'm from Utah. Um, I grew up in doing studio dance, doing high school dance, and I was like obsessed with UDA Nationals and like watched it constantly. And I was like, I want to be on a team that competes at UDA Nationals and like wins. So North Dakota State University had just won their first nationals championship. I sent in a video audition, I made the team, and then I moved across the country to dance for NDSU. So that was
Wow.
really scary, but so fun. And I was able to win 2 Palm National Championships at UDA Nationals, which is like the highlight of my life. Don't tell my husband, more important than my wedding. But it was so awesome. And I absolutely loved my journey being on a college dance team. And so I knew I wanted to coach college right away. So right out of college, my first coaching job was at Minnesota State University, Moorhead. And then I also coached Fargo North High School the same year. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a little wild. But
Whoa.
I got a lot of experience really fast. And then after that, I coached NDSU for 3 years, and then this will be my 5th season with the University of North Dakota. I
from-
still am commuting to Grand Forks from Fargo.
Oh my.
I live in Fargo.
And then you commute to Grand Forks. What's that
Yeah.
drive?
It's like an hour and 15 minutes if there's not weather.
Okay. Oof.
So enough time to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, perfect. Add us to the list.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just kidding. That's so cool. So many different experiences and yeah, the national champions. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not many people can say that they won 2 national champions at UDA.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, now the talent is insane. I don't know if I could hang nowadays, and that's like
Oh, yes.
so impressive, but
It gets
was-
better and better every single
Yeah.
year. But still, I mean, the caliber that it was at when you were there was the highest of the high. You know what I mean? Like it was like what everyone strives for. So that's really cool. So tell me about UND used to compete at UDA. When did that like switchover happen? What led to that switchover? What did that look like?
Taylor, you might have to say what was the last year they competed. I'm not 100% sure.
It was our first year together, so it was your second
But
year
like before
coaching
that,
then?
before COVID.
Oh, before
Sure.
that, we had always went to UDA.
Okay.
Their UND had lost their team for how many years that they like stopped going to nationals for a little bit, just with like
Yeah.
goodness, I think it was maybe even like 2018 to COVID.
Right. Into
There was no
2021.
team that went to nationals.
Yeah. That
Okay.
sounds right. And then so COVID year, the cheer coach actually coached the dance team because they didn't compete. And then I got hired in August of 21. And that first season we didn't compete because we only, I think, ended the season with 6 girls. 22 was our first like competition year. And we went to UDA January of 23.
Cool. And how was that build? Like, how was building that back up, that team?
It was a struggle because they hadn't competed in a few years. Like some girls didn't want to compete, and I was like, we're going. So it was kind of definitely 2 years of rebuilding, of like making sure the girls on the team had the same goals and mindset that I did. And then I think adding Taylor too really helped, just like have someone to like back me up and say like, these are our goals, like get on or get off, like we're going.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely I would say the first 3 years were pretty challenging and a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But you did it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, Taylor, how have you been able to utilize what you've learned in your previous coaching experience and bringing it to a team that's fairly new to NDA? I know you never competed at NDA, but experience from UDA and that bringing that to Premier Dance Team.
Yeah, I think that was like one thing that I was when I was obviously like interviewing for the job, that I was like, I really know NDA, even though I've only been there twice, but just like understanding from like a coach's perspective. So because it like the first year we went to NDA, I mean, like we were obviously like going in blindsided. We didn't exactly know what we were doing. So even just like understanding how it works and where to go and where to be and all of those aspects, I think are really helpful. So even just like kind of explaining things to my team this year, because it's like you always learn something new about your competition like every single year, right? So I was going over with them like how I'm like, well, like order of competition does really go off of like your bid you get from camp and then how you register. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, like that's a thing. And they were like, we didn't know that. And I was like, honestly, we didn't really know that either until we like finally like got in the swing of things. And so yeah, it's it goes by your bid for camp. So like if you go in person, you can get a gold, silver, bronze bid, and then it goes bronze home camp and then video audition. So obviously based on that is how you register, and then that's your preliminary performance order, and then going into finals obviously is reverse rank and whatnot. So it's like you always learn something new. So I feel like I like slightly at least know how the competition works, that I'm like helping them understand that. And they're like, oh, that's why we went so early last year. And I was like, yeah, that's, kind of how it goes there, which it kind of makes NDA a little unique. So just being there, and I think now going from being an assistant coach to head coach, like I was always just like Caitlin's little sidekick, and like, was just like the cool, calm, collected one that just got to like enjoy the process. So I really got to like watch her do everything. And now that I'm like sitting in this seat, I'm like, girl, I understand your stress. I understand how you're up late at night thinking about things. Well, like we literally talk into like midnight some nights talking about things. So now I really understand this process. So it was so nice to like sit back in the assistant coach role and literally like watch her do all these things, because like truly she really did set me up for success, like for this team, just regarding like how I set up practices and how nationals works and things like that. So I feel, because of that, I feel confident going into nationals, like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing, that I can support you guys in whatever you need. I'm not worried about how the competition works. I'm not worried about where to go, because I at least know all of that stuff.
For sure. So going back a little bit, can you guys tell me about your first year at NDA coaching and what that was like, and maybe some surprises, some like, I'm sure there were things you were like, okay, like switch gears, like some surprises, things like that.
Yeah, I think like we went to camp that year. So like we had talked to some other coaches that went, and like we asked them a lot of questions, but like until you're there, you don't fully understand what you're getting into. The one nice thing about NDA is they do like a rookie coach tour when you first get there, which like I
Oh,
think we were
that's
both
nice.
so grateful for. Yeah. So basically they put you in a room, they tell you the gist of what's going on, and then they walk you around like, okay, this is where you check in, this is where you mark, this is the stage. And I think that just as a coach helps build your confidence to go back to your team and be like, I know what's going on. I know where we're going. Don't worry. Whereas when you go in blind, it's like, we're going to figure this out together. So I think that
Right. Like
helps us out a
being
lot.
confident, like helps your team feel confident too.
Right. Because they're like, okay, our leader knows what's going on. Like, but I'll just follow. It'll be okay.
Yep. Can focus on the dance.
Yeah.
Anything else that like came up while you were there, or you just kind of went with the flow that first year and like just
The
learned as you went?
Yeah, the first year I think we really did just go with the flow. Like even last year when we went, like the process of like checking in changed a little bit too. And so it's like every year just something changes a little bit. But yeah, the first year specifically was really just go with the flow, because it's very different, obviously, in regards to setup from UDA. Like obviously you're at ESPN Center. Like how to get backstage and how to do all of that stuff is very different. So the nice thing was just like that we did go to camp. So we met all of these like camp people for NDA. So like we would see them, and then we would be able to like ask them questions and like have a nice connection with them. So that was really nice to have. And then it obviously like got our team really excited to like have like their camp coach like on the floor and like
Right.
being like, oh my goodness, you look so much better from camp, you improved so much and whatnot. So yeah, it was pretty go with the flow the first year.
Yeah. What are some other differences from UDA and NDA that you remember or notice?
I think it's like the vibe. Like, I remember, I mean, we both competed at UDA, and like it's pretty cutthroat. Like, even the mark time, like you're all in one room, everyone's screaming, like you can see everyone, like it's very intense. And like going to NDA, like they do a really good job of like keeping teams separate, and like you're not marking next to another team that you compete against, which I think kind of helps build camaraderie and like the ability to feel comfortable supporting other teams and like celebrating other teams. Like it just doesn't feel as like at people's throats. Like I felt like we girls were like handing out bracelets and like saying good luck, and like making tunnels for the girls as they came off the floor. It felt like a one big dance community. It didn't feel like we were all going to beat each other, even though it is a competition and that's important. I just felt the warmth from other teams.
Well, that's really nice to hear. And I didn't think about that too. Like sometimes I think people might think like, well, if you're in the same room together, you're building that. But if you're still in your own separate, like, and you're doing the same thing at the same time, that, yeah, might feel that way.
Yeah, I second what Caitlin was gonna say. Just like like everybody's so nice to each other there. Like people, like teams that we obviously like we're competing against. We're like, good luck. I love your uniforms. Like you guys did so good out there. Like it just felt so like comforting knowing that situation. Cause obviously, yeah, our first year we were on coached UND together. It was very like I mean our team got imposter syndrome for sure. There's a lot of hard, good competition there and whatnot. And I think they just felt more comfortable, you know, just like they don't feel that imposter syndrome when they were there, especially being in that separate room during mark time. And then when you get behind the floor, like it's a very quick process. It's not like you're sitting behind, like waiting to go on for a long time that all these other teams are behind you and you're staring at them and whatnot. So it's a really quick, nice process.
Is UDA like that? Is there a lot of wait time at UDA?
Yeah, and like you're just like by other teams all the time and like you're by your competition all the time, which like it's good and bad, right? Like it creates that like intensity and that competition feeling where it's like, here we go. But like I just think our team performed better in a different environment and they reacted better in a different environment. And it was just healthier for our team to go to NDA and different experience.
I love that. We talk about that a lot of like, there's so many different reasons why teams choose to like one competition over another. And so it's nice to hear your perspective on this is what helped our team. And, you know, other teams might need that like push from being around their competition. Like maybe that's the way that they respond well, you know? So very cool. Thank you for sharing that. The atmosphere that you're talking about really reminds me of Worlds. So Taylor, I don't know if you connect with that, but like I feel like at Worlds, all the different countries were like passing out pins and trading bracelets and t-shirts and like really just like wanted to meet each other. Like that was almost as important as competing on the floor was like meeting all the different people from all the different teams all over the world. So that's cool.
Right. Yeah.
What is the most challenging part about Nationals weekend as a coach?
Katelin, you go first.
Okay. I would say like as a coach, like we still have the same thoughts and feelings that the team does. And it's like practicing what you preach, right? Like we're telling them like, don't look at other teams, like don't get imposter syndrome, like only worry about yourself. Like we're there for ourselves. And like as a coach, that can be really hard to like not size up your competition and like worry about the score sheet and worry about like what team did teams bring last year. And it's like just practicing what you preach. And like if you're going to tell your team to abide by these things, like you also have to like look in the mirror and be like, am I abiding by these same things I'm asking them to abide by? So I would say that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I obviously second everything she said, especially obviously being my first year being a head coach. I'm just like, I really need to like take it all in and like practice what I preach and do what I say. I think one thing I struggle with is like having like those really like confident like conversations right before they go on the floor because honestly like I'm like I feel so confident in you. I just look at you and I say just do what you've been doing. You're doing amazing. And so like sometimes I'm just like I need to be maybe a little more motivating, but like that's how confident I am in them. I feel so good about what they're doing that I'm like I don't have anything more to say. I just want you to go out there and do what you've been doing because you've been doing such an amazing job. So I think one thing I'm gonna like push myself to do is just like kind of think of some like more inspiring things to say to them. So that'll be something that's new for me. Also, my team knows I'm just like a big baby and I like cry happy tears. So I just I'm like we're gonna wait till that's like let's wait till later and that's done and then I can cry all the happy tears I want to. But I just like just when you're so excited, I'm just like just do what you've been doing. I'm so proud of you and you haven't even danced yet. I can't wait to see how I feel when you're done dancing, you know? So
Yeah. I feel like this kind of goes off of both of like what both of you said. I feel like teams can sense how you feel, like no matter what you're saying, like they can sense how you are feeling based on like your body language and at like your eyes, everything. So I feel like, yeah, it is helpful to practice what you preach because you can say like all the right things, but if you're not feeling it, I feel like they can sense that. And same with like Taylor, you were saying of like knowing the right things to say. Like sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter what you say. Like if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling that confident, like they're going to feel that and they're going to feel like so confident and proud going onto the stage. So I love to hear that. Okay. Next question I'm going to ask is tell us about your season as a whole. So like what does the beginning of your season look like and what does the preparation or process look like leading up to NDA?
Ours is probably going to look pretty different from one another because obviously we don't do game day and we do a best of the best routine. So I was obviously hired like a little later into the season. So just planning this year was a little bit later. But obviously, my team historically has done auditions in September when school starts. Then we immediately get into teaching best of the best routine. They usually do that for the fall winter semester. And then after best of the best, they kind of hone in on their jazz routine, go to nationals, compete jazz. Obviously, I put a wrench in those plans when I said, I really think we should do a second routine at nationals. And so things just looked a little differently this year. We learned jazz in like fall, winter, and then we learned pom at the end of January. So just really trying to add those things in while also doing our best of the best routine was something new for my team. So that's kind of how our preparation had gone this year. In future years, I anticipate it being, of course, a little bit different just because they and myself have learned that doing 3 routines and having less practice time obviously can be pretty difficult. So we'll just change it up a little bit. Yeah, next year, but that's kind of how our preparation has looked so far this year. But once best of the best is done, we totally take away that routine. That's something that everyone asks us, do you do that? Is that your Jazz Nationals routine? It is not. We do a totally different self-choreographed routine by my captains.
Oh.
So that's really cool and they really enjoy and love that. So yes, that routine is not our Nationals Jazz routine. We have a totally different one. So
I didn't know that the Nationals jazz routine was self-choreographed. Is that, and that's
I'm
every
sorry.
year?
Best of the best is yeah, best of the
Self-choreographed.
best
Okay.
is Lauren Busen did jazz this year.
Oh, awesome. And do you have a different team for Best of the Best that you do that you take to nationals? Like, are there some people that perform at Best of the Best that don't go to nationals?
We still take everybody to nationals, but not everybody dances. We have 25 on our team and 18 are in jazz and 20 are in pom.
And Katelin, what does your season look like?
Yeah, so we obviously do game day, so there's a lot kind of mixed into our fall. So we do recruitment, so we usually know our team the week after we come back from nationals. And then we start practice about 2 weeks before school starts, so like mid-August. We do camp, and then we go right into learning all of our football material. And then we also dance at volleyball and basketball. So like our fall is like jam packed with game day.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually Christmas break is when we learn our nationals routines. So then like the first semester, the girls can really focus on like game day, while also like working on their technique to get ready for nationals. And then like Christmas break is kind of when we flip the switch to like now we're in national season, but we're still doing games. We're still doing basketball and volleyball, but like things are pretty set in stone by then with game day and they're very experienced. So we can kind of like, practice for 15 minutes on game day, spend 2.5 on our nationals routines. And then basically all of second semester is like nationals, like getting everything clean, starting to build stamina, all of that good stuff. And then, yeah, we're now a week away from nationals. And then the week after we get home, we'll go into next season. We'll have our next team. So yeah, it's a long season, but it's so fun. And the girls get to do so many different things.
There's truly no off season.
Yeah,
No.
Katelin just reminded me of one thing that we had talked about, obviously, when we switched to NDA, but that was also another large reason we switched is
Yes.
because they have so much during the fall that trying to do all of that was like truly exhausting for them and us. So we were like, obviously, it's going to be a longer season, but we just feel like it might benefit you to push out nationals a little bit so then you can really focus on that football stuff. And I really think that was really nice for our team.
Yes. And fundraising too. I mean, nationals is not cheap, and like
Right.
doing, football season plus learning nationals plus trying to raise enough money to go in 6 months it was a lot of pressure on us as coaches and the girls. So it helped us be able to spread out our fundraising so that, they could still focus on school and like have a little bit of work-life balance.
Yeah. Because dance doesn't get a whole lot of support from schools financially. Well, many different aspects, but especially financially. So yeah, that's a perspective we haven't heard yet is like spreading out the fundraising because that does take a while and then you can have a little bit more time to earn a little bit more money for that. And either of your practice schedules don't change leading up to nationals, correct?
We add Sundays in the spring. So we do twice a week in the fall and 3 times a week in the spring. And then that just helps us be able to spend more time on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We practice 3 times a week, but less hours. So, but once we started getting closer to nationals, we were adding some extra hours in and whatnot because as my team and I are learning, obviously, because historically this team used to only do best of the best routine, right? And then a few years ago they started doing nationals, added a second routine. Now that we added a third routine in our time frame, I was like, I think we just need to add a little bit more time. I'm so sorry we're adding another hour. I'm so sorry we're adding another hour. But so yeah, so other than that, no, our schedule stays the same for the most part.
So you were just talking about game day, Katelin, and UND just made school history last year, correct? Placing third in the D1 Spirit Rally category.
Yeah, this is going to be hot tea. We're not doing Spirit Rally this year.
No
We were
way.
told that we weren't allowed to. So,
By who?
yeah, by varsity. There's a rule that no one dancer can dance in more than 2 routines. So because we have a limit of 25 on our squad, it's not humanly possible for us to do 3 routines. So we found out in October that we weren't going to be able to compete in Spirit Rally. So we had a routine ready. We were cleaning it, ready to rock, and they said, sorry, you can only do 2. So we picked Palm and Jazz this year to compete.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened.
But we did get third last year, and it was very exciting and groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So we're still super proud of the title, but just
As
not
you
in the
should
cards
be.
this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sure it created a lot of momentum on your team too going forward of like now they want to get to that level in Jazz and Palm as well.
Yes, 100%. And I think like finding out later in the season that they couldn't do Spirit Rally really like lit a fire under their butt that like, okay, we don't have that to fall back on. So like we really got to push it in our other routines. And we did get 5th in Palm last year, so and 11th in Jazz. So we were still in good placements. And so I'm really hopeful that this year we can like push into the top 3 in Palm and into the top 10 in Jazz. So the girls are very motivated. I was worried when I told them that they were going to kind of, they were sad for a minute, but like they just like jumped on board and were like, it's okay. Like we've got this. So I was very proud of them for the way they reacted.
And I think that shows a lot about like the leadership too, like the culture that you're creating on the team that they were able to do that. Well, we're really excited to see what you bring this year and how you do and everything. Okay, last question I have is how has NDA changed over the years that you've attended? Because it's been 5 years now, right? So like is there anything you were saying like little things change here and there each year? Is there anything besides like where registration is? Any bigger things that maybe have changed over the years?
Yeah, so this will be our 3rd year going. And I feel like the competitiveness of it has increased quite a bit, even the number of teams in our category. I feel like UDA gets so much hype, which like it should. It's the cream of the crop. It's the best of the best. But I think NDA is like starting to get the spotlight shown on it that like these dancers are just as talented. They've worked just as hard. Like they deserve the recognition. And I think that shows in how competitive it's becoming, that people are starting to realize this is a legitimate competition that we should be looking at. And then I think just people supporting it and talking about it has helped it become a bigger competition. And just showcasing the athletes that do go to NDA, I think is the biggest change I've seen just in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's something that we were talking about with Louie and Jenny, who we interviewed last week, is just the level of talent that's there that we don't think a lot of people know about. Do you guys have any other teams? Obviously, we're gonna watch everybody, but besides Premier Dance Team and UND, are there any other teams that you want to shout out for people to go and watch?
I mean, BYU, of course, after being gone for a year, very excited to see them come back. Iowa State, of course.
Yeah, I'm a big Louisville fan. I've always been a big fan of them, and like their hip hop is always insane. And I kind of like the Louisville BYU rivalry, and BYU didn't go last year, so like I'm very excited to like watch that play out in the flesh and like see what happens.
Cool. I did not know
Absolutely.
about that rivalry. That's really cool. We'll have to watch out for that.
Well, and then Boise last year. I mean,
Yes.
so it's gonna be
It's anyone's game.
exciting. Also, really excited to watch Ohio State club team.
Yes.
So
Okay.
NDA had a virtual scrimmage this season that was new for them, and the Ohio State club team placed in the top 3 in both of their routines. So very excited to
Cool.
see.
Tell us
what
a little
they-
bit more about that. A virtual scrimmage.
Yeah, that was new this year. Teams had the opportunity if they wanted to send in videos for feedback, and they said that they would post the top 3 teams of each category. So like it was all of the divisions together. So it was D1A, D1, so on and so forth all together. But they did post the top 3. So that was kind of like a little like sneak peek and whatnot. So that was kind of
Was it their
exciting.
nationals routine or a different
Yeah,
routine?
they didn't tell anything else regarding like placement or scores or anything like that. You
They
just got
didn't
to know
show the
the top.
routines either. They
Yeah,
just said who it
no.
was.
And yeah,
Mm.
so it's but still a great opportunity for teams to get feedback and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, because like Katelin was saying, like caliber at NDA is just like significantly going up. There is 32 teams in the D1A Jazz category. Yeah.
Whoa,
And
that's huge.
the thing I don't know if NDA has ever like, I mean, I'm assuming at some point in time they've been this large, but they don't do semifinals. It's prelims and finals.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's a little bit different, obviously, from UDA. So 60% of teams move on to the next finals. So yeah.
So you think
NDA
maybe at some
also
point they
has
might add?
grand champion, which I feel like is
Yeah.
unique. I forget about
Oh.
it sometimes. So if you win your
Did they just add that
category,
last year?
yeah, last year might have been the first year, or maybe we just didn't know
Yeah.
about it first year we went.
Yeah.
But basically, if you win your category, then on the last day of the competition, you compete for grand champion of the whole competition, which is so cool.
And then you get an automatic gold paid bid for the next season.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. So that's
Rightfully
huge.
so. Well deserved.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
As you should.
Everyone agrees.
Yes.
So Taylor, going back to the question, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that like has changed over the years with NDA?
Just, yeah, the caliber is definitely very different. And I mean, I think obviously as time goes on and you continue coaching, just like your eyes open up so much more. Like, I mean, me and Katelin had obviously a very long talk about it, how many years ago of like when we were changing competitions, because we were like, UDA was the standard forever. It was always like that. And so just like looking at other competitions and whatnot and really seeing like, oh wow, these other competitions really still have like very high level dance and whatnot. So that's really a big thing. And I mean, I think obviously I didn't coach Premier last year, but last year they only had 24 teams in the jazz category. So like moving up from 24 to
Wow.
32 teams, there's clearly teams moving over and like other things happening. So it's really awesome to see the competition grow. Obviously, the more teams that compete it's just more fun, right? Like, and I think everybody else feels that way. Like competition feels more fun when there's more teams. So that's a really exciting component to it.
Yeah.
I obviously am really excited. My team's never done pom before, so I'm really excited.
I'm
for
so
my
excited to watch you guys do pom
Me
this year.
too. Yes,
So
it's
excited.
it's very exciting. Our choreographer did an amazing job for their first year doing pom, so I'm really excited. And shout out to the
Good.
University of Minnesota dance team for letting us borrow a pom uniform for this year because we
That's
could have
so
not done it without
nice.
them. That's one thing that
Wow.
was like super, that like absolutely like put the cherry on top. Like, yes, we can do it. They let us borrow it. So that was really, really awesome. And obviously my team wearing them, they just like have this
They
like
probably feel
aura.
glow.
And they're like, yes, it was like
I
so fun.
would.
They wore them for the first time last week at the St. Thomas Club show. And I was just like, I can feel this energy and I love it.
Yes. Are you able to say who choreographed your routine or no?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's Anna Kate Hermanson. Neiman is her previous last name, right,
Yeah.
Katelin?
Okay.
Yeah, I said that
Okay.
right. Okay. Yeah. So she's with Innovate.
Oh, nice.
She did a wonderful job. It's really good. I'm really excited for everybody to see it.
Yay. Fun fact, I was on Premier Dance Team the only 2 years that they ever did pom previously.
Wow.
And they didn't
Okay.
compete. We didn't compete at that time, but we just like
You just-
performed a pom routine.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's my favorite style. It's so fun.
Yes. Well, it was funny when I was first hired, they were like, we kind of always envisioned ourselves doing hip hop. And I was like, oh, you hired the wrong coach.
You're like,
but
and
I was like,
pom.
I mean, if that's what you really want to do, we could figure it out. And I was like, but pom is the way to go. And they were like,
Yes.
okay, sounds good. We made it work. And
You can put a hip hop
really-
section in pom.
Yeah, we do have a little hip hop
breakdown.
section in pom.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
The
so-
breakdown.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I was like, you can get the best of both worlds.
Yes, fun. Well, I'm glad that they jumped on board and
Yes.
are ready to just give it their all, and that
Mhm.
uniform is going to look amazing. We can't wait to watch them. Is there anything else that you two want to share about NDA, your team, anything in general that we may have missed?
I just think it's like, I think our story of like how we met and where we ended up is like just a testament to people to, like use your dance connections and like to kind of, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Like, I mean, I think like Taylor messaging me on Instagram and saying like, I want to be your assistant coach. Like if she wouldn't have like put herself out there, like that partnership would have never happened. And like me trusting that she was a solid coach and like that I needed help, I think also like allowed that to happen. And so I just think it's so important for people, like if you're trying to get into coaching, like don't be afraid. Like you're never going to feel qualified. Like just do it. And like you will learn as you go and people will give you grace.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that.
Even Katelin met someone that is interested in helping me coach next year.
No
And
way.
so, yeah, and
At
so
a
it's
work
just like
conference.
connection. Yes, at a conference. And so it's just like, it's just meant to be. Just put yourself out there. And I was like, I mean, I trust Katelin with my life. I still call her for hours on end to ask her random questions about rules of dance and all the things and just
There's
to
so
talk.
many rules.
And so yeah, I'm just like, I was like, if Katelin is recommending you, I trust her with my whole life. I was like, it sounds great.
Yep.
It was like, this sounds awesome. So yeah, it's really just put yourself out there. You never know until you try regarding coaching or dancing or anything, or just reach out to anybody. We're always willing to lend an ear.
Yeah, the dance community is so welcoming. That's like another thing that we've been trying to spread with this podcast too, is just like, I feel like sometimes, like with some media like Dance Moms and other things, like people have a notion that the dance community is like pretty cutthroat and like, like everyone's just trying to like push each other down to get to the top, which is like so not true at all. So I love that you're like helping spread that message too. And Taylor, like, do you have anything about like starting dance a little bit later too? Because I feel like that's something that I felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome too growing up, of just like, I missed all of these years of dance and now like I'm not going to have any opportunities. And I feel like I had a very flourishing dance career even starting later. And so I feel like that's something I try to share with people too, is like, just because you didn't start at 3 years old doesn't mean that you can't do all of these, like all of the opportunities that are open to you.
Yeah. I think the blessing about dance being like almost a full year sport wherever you are, like it was kind of like you had to be committed. So if you know any history about West Fargo, they have been high kick champions before. And so when I didn't know, like little naive Taylor was walking on after this team had won 2 national championships. I think it was like the year before and the year before that prior. And so I had no idea what I was walking onto. And I remember being like, okay, I have to pick between sports here. And just like I really, really wanted to do dance. And I remember my coaches saying like really the reason why I made the team was just because I had such a like I really just took in every single thing that they said. Like I might have not been good. I I had the worst splits you could ever picture in your life trying out for this team. But I listened to everything they said. If they told me to point my feet, if they told me to put my shoulders back, if they told me to do this, I took it in and I ran with it. And then by my senior year, like I felt the same way. I genuinely felt like I got out of dance in my high school career everything that I wanted. So really just take in every single thing that your coach ever says to you, because they're doing it so because they want you to be better. They want you to be as good as you can be. So anytime you get a critique, I know it's not fun. I know it's hard to listen to, especially when you hear the same thing over and over again, but you're like, my coach is telling me this because he or she wants me to be better. They see the best in me. And so I feel the same way as you. I feel like I really got a lot out of my high school dancing career. I do wish that I would have put a little bit more into my college dancing career, but when you're going into your degree and things are hard and whatnot, but here we are coaching college kids being like, you can do both, you can do it. But I feel like
Yeah, it's
me and
hard.
Caitlin, at least, or we try to be really understanding with the team and whatnot. We'll make it work. We'll figure it out. We just, if we can do both, that's great. But yeah, you don't have to start dance at 3 to be able to do what you want to do with your dance career.
Yeah, that shows the power of an amazing coach too, that like sees the potential in their dancers and like pushes them. thank you to you two for being those coaches for your dancers. And we just can't wait to see you guys compete at NDA next weekend.
Yay! Can't believe it's here.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's crazy. Yeah. Well, thank you for taking time out to meet with us and chat about this, even during like this super busy time. We really appreciate it to share this information with people and get everyone excited about NDA. And we hope more and more people watch this competition, and it just continues to grow, not only with it sounds like the teams within the competition is growing a ton, but also the viewership too. I feel like there was one question that I forgot to ask about, like what your favorite memory is at NDA every year. Do you have like, because when we were talking to Louie and Jenny, they were like, what was it? Ballroom practice. They were like, our favorite memories from NDA are ballroom practices. So I just wondered, like from a coaching perspective, do you have like a favorite memory every year from NDA weekend?
I mean, my favorite part is like, because poor Katelin's playing the music, so I get to go be on center and wait for them to come out on the floor. So, I mean, like, just like cheering them on and watching them like get on the floor. And then we obviously get to go and like watch our performances after. I think that is just like a very memorable moment, and honestly that's the most excited thing I'm excited for this season, is just after my team's done performing, going back and seeing all the emotions and all the excitement, and then getting to rewatch it together as a team. I think that that's like really when everything like comes together and just like feels right, like you did all of the things that you should have done. So that's my favorite moment for sure.
You should tell the story about the sign, because that's what that made me think of.
That's what it made me think of too. So last year it was prelims for Spirit Rally. So I'm on center. Katelin is over here going to play the music, and they announce them on. And there's one of our dancers running with the sign the wrong way.
No.
And I am trying to get her attention. I am screaming at her. I'm like,
I can
"Flip
hear
your
her
sign,
from the music table
flip
screaming.
your sign." And Katelin literally took 2 steps back from the music and was like, not touching the music until something happens. And so the dancer didn't hear me. She's clearly in the zone. The girl next to her heard me, and then was like, hey, you need to flip your sign. And so it was just enough time. She flipped her sign. The dance was great. We clearly made it onto finals. Iffy doodah. But that dancer gets off the floor and she comes up to me and she's like, thank you so much. I have normally like kind of like blackout when they're dancing really good, because it's so good that I remember everything was so surreal when they did their prelims performance, because I was like, what just happened?
Because you were like actually in.
Were you
like
I
sweating?
Was, like,
I'm sweating just like you guys telling that story.
Yes.
That's why I had to back up from the music table, because I was like, I don't want to make this worse. I'm just going to let her handle it. I'll push play when it's time.
Yeah.
Good for you for like being able to yell though too, because I feel like some people would like panic, and like I feel like I would maybe panic and like wouldn't be able to say anything. I'd just be like,
yep, literally. And then it's like the sign's the wrong way. Is she going to turn it back the right way? Because we had letters on both sides. So I was like, is she going to get confused? But she did a great job. She flipped it. The whole performance went well. We spelt North Dakota right, so that's always good. So, but yeah, that was a very surreal moment that I'll never forget, and Katelin also will never forget. But we did it.
Yeah. Oh, now you can make it through anything.
Yes, exactly. We can make it through that. We can make it through anything.
Katelin, what about you?
I would say mine's like a very specific moment from last year, which the sign thing made me think of it. So we had this lift in our routine where like the girl like cartwheeled onto another girl's shoulders, and like we should have took it out. It never hit. Like, I don't know what we were thinking. We were being gutsy. And we threw it up on the stage. It didn't hit in prelims. And we said, keep it in. Let's go.
Yes, I love it.
It was the one side that didn't hit in prelims, and then it was the other side in finals.
Yes.
But the other side in finals had
Hulk strength.
Hulk strength. We should send you the video. You should watch it. You would be
like,
I want to see. No idea how that lift got up. It's crazy.
And wait, so it hit.
It hit, but
like
barely.
Barely. Yes. So the side that went down during prelims went up for like fine.
No problem.
Yeah.
The other side, it was a cartwheel, and then their legs were over here, so they were like up here, if that makes sense.
I can picture
legs
it,
totally missed, like, and were in front of her body, and somehow they pulled her and got her back up behind the head on the shoulder. We have
like
no idea.
defied gravity. That's like defying gravity.
It was
And
the
we did
craziest.
tell
That's
them, we said
crazy.
before they went on, we said, this lift will go up. We don't care
Yeah.
how, it will go up. And so when they came off, they said, it went up.
They said, yes, coach.
Yep.
Yes,
We
coach.
did
We
it.
got that.
And then we have it like on, like someone was just like recording, and we have it
It
on
was
like
me.
a good video. Like, yes, you have it. Yeah, it was the greatest view of it, and it was so insane. Like, we watched it in slow motion. We were like, how?
Because
How did
I
this
was
happen?
Still don't
watching it because
know.
I was scared. So I was filming directly on. Yeah. We'll send it
Oh
to you.
my gosh. Okay,
Yep.
please.
That's,
please.
it just shows you can do anything.
Right.
If you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
Yep. Even if it goes against physics, like
Right.
no
Exactly.
excuses anymore. That's
Yep.
amazing. Thank
Yep.
you for sharing that with us.
Yep.
Well, thank you. I hope you have a great week and good luck. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
What an amazing interview. Just two wonderful people to talk to. And this actually came together like last minute. Like, I am so incredibly grateful that we were able to set this up. I had such bad FOMO. Such bad FOMO.
I feel like this came about kind of like what we were just talking about with Caitlin and Taylor, how they were like, don't be afraid to reach out to your connections, reach out to people in the dance community. It's such a welcoming space. And that's what Taylor did with you. She reached out via DMs and was giving some super valuable information. And that is how we connected and ended up scheduling this amazing interview. I feel like it just goes to show, like, don't be afraid, like, just connect with everyone in this community. It's so welcoming and we love it.
Yeah, Taylor reached out about the order that routines go. You guys talked about it earlier in the episode, but the order that teams go at NDA Nationals. So I thought that that was really fascinating. And I was like, you know what? We should just like bring her on because we're not going to be able to do this justice. And that's what we wanted to do with talking about NDA, right? Is we wanted to rely on the resources we had and people that are actually living it, and the contrast that they had from starting at UDA and going to NDA, and like even as like coaches that are learning NDA for the first time, they had really, really beneficial insight into that. So if any coaches are out there thinking about potentially making the move, like, it can be done. NDA has the rookie coaches like tour, was it?
Yes, I thought that was so fascinating. Rookie coaches tour. So they show you the entire lay of the land, walk you around all the places you need to be, the places you need to know, what you're going to do there, what it's going to look like. And I think that's so amazing. Like, no one has to be afraid or spend hours and hours and hours figuring all of this stuff out on their own. Like, they do it for you. So, yeah. And I loved hearing their reasons for going to NDA. We've been talking about that a lot, how there's so many different reasons. People do different competitions. So it's nice to hear different perspectives, because if, something's not working for you and you're looking to switch, now you know reasons why other people go to NDA or UDA or these other competitions. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to cover some other competitions as well.
Thank you for joining us for Center Stage with Taylor Vasek and Katelin Madsen. To stay on beat with all things college dance, make sure you're following us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at 8 Count Breakdown to keep up with all the college dance news. And yeah, just another huge thank you to Taylor and Katelin for taking on this interview and providing so much wonderful thoughts and insights. And I was already excited to watch NDA this year, but now I'm like even more excited and just cheering so hard for the University of Minnesota Premier team and University of North Dakota dance teams, and cannot wait to see what they bring to the floor.
We'll catch you right back here next week for all things college dance. This has been
8 Count Breakdown.